But the predictions aside, I'm very excited to see what their opponent has to offer in this series. And this series is going to begin immediately. Mirage, the first of our 3-map series, potentially, if it goes all the way. And I really wish it will get there, because an Anubis decider would be very exciting to watch, to see how people deal with that, especially on the CT side. But anyway, it is Mirage first. Messitas will be defending on that CT side. And we saw some very proactive action on the CT side yesterday on Mirage, and maybe we can do a comparison with that, what we see from that today. There'll be some jump peeking in this pistol round. Oh, the sound cues. Look at that. Nice detail with the HE, but that is one hell of a pop from the P250. We've got 3 players, however, on this B bomb site for Messitas, who will try to do what they can to hold things down. The frags are coming in thick and fast, and suddenly it's Flossie versus 2. So many headshots. 1:15 on the clock, and the round is almost over. Absolutely wild. Flossie, can't you find an angle? She'll take one in the face, down to 1 HP. Carol is low as well, and somehow she manages to clutch it. 1 HP and a dream 1v2, and somehow she's kept that round alive for her squad.
There's our Kadir player to watch, being the reason that we need to keep an eye out on her. I will say, some of those shots were kind of ridiculous. You got Elens kind of kicking things off with that first really crisp headshot towards window. Then we move over on towards the site, and you've got this like drive-by USP headshot. And, you know, everything kind of kicks off at that point. The dust has kind of clouded your vision, and as it settles, somehow Flossie with 1 HP has got a 1v2. And she catches the bomb planter, and she perfectly predicts where that last player is going to be. So it's a great clutch from her to kind of set Messitas off on the right foot. But the Brave Bears did get a bomb plant, so there's a bit of cash to play with.
Yeah, interestingly, not a force buy. Again, the detail from these HEs is nice, and it's very early on that we're seeing them. But Messitas have a plan here, and this kind of detail, again, is important, because it is the little things that will lead you to victory. So I'm loving the detail we're seeing in those HEs so far. And again, as I mentioned, comparing to the CT side we saw on Mirage yesterday, which was wonderful, we are seeing some flourish here from Messitas in their own way in these very early rounds. Look at the damage that has done as well. Of course, this is not a full investment, but regardless, they are really helping to neutralize the threat that we're seeing on the other side. And these are early warnings for the Brave Bears as well, that Messitas have their attention to detail. And they've got to be careful about their timing, otherwise they will be punished. Messitas winning the round with 500 HP towards the end. Again, it is a Nico round from Brave Bears. You always want to get some frags if you can, though, but they were not allowed to do anything in that round.
Yeah, I think the gamble there is obviously we could force, but we want to make sure we come into the next round with a really robust buy and AWP as well in round 3. So they wanted to make this as terrifying as they possibly could. We spoke about potential comparisons. I mean, that was proactivity 101. Another great round from Messitas.
That's an important trade from Muttley. Now, what they do in the mid to late round will be interesting for Brave Bears as a new team. Oh boy, down to 7 HP. Again, the HEs continue in a really nice way. They may be dependent on that damage as Keys is able to tie up the numbers. Bomb has not been spotted just yet. We can see it has left towards the ramp, but have a look at Volulu. Somehow found her way towards top mid. And maybe she'll have a part to play in this one. Carol's got a very nice position in jungle, though, so Volulu's going to have to get her skates on, but she's aware of that position. How does she tackle it, though? How does she get to that position, knowing that people will be moving into the A-bomb sites as well? With rough range with that MP9, she still manages to get the frag onto Muttley, and here come the rest of the CTs as Carol tries to reposition, and she will be denied, as will the bomb plant.
That palace smoke was actually really solid, but notice how Kiza does not care. She just walks straight through it, and she's there to back up her teammates to make sure that anything that's kind of going on site, she can be there for it. She gets a kill for her troubles, and she helps to just deny any sort of shenanigans in this round. Really well played. And again, I mean, at this point, you actually see 2 players that are going on some crazy flanking missions. Volulu going all the way towards the T spawn. And then, of course, you had Kiza moving through Palace, and then obviously eventually gets smoked off. But they're controlling those extremities, and I love that. They know that very often T's are going to go for some mid control, and they do have a bit of presence there, but it's not their main focus. They want to try and get extremity control so that they can collapse in once Brave Bears have made a decision on where they want to go. But what I also expect is that we're going to see a change up from that, because 2 rounds of crazy flanks, and surely after that timeout we just had, Brave Bears go, all right guys, we can't keep allowing that to happen. So now it's just upgraded pistols, but as the rounds continue on, we should see a bit more awareness for that.
He smoked towards short is interesting. So they've got mid control, or well, they're trying to get mid control. Armcam won't get anything from that shot, but they've smoked top con, shorts, and the window. Now, with these, they've got 3 Tech 9s, so I'm expecting them to make a play towards B. And again, they're not going to be getting any kills in this round. But yeah, I expected a play towards B with the Tech 9s. Again, trying to close the distance quickly. A might not be the best idea in that respect. Smokes up, maybe trying to... So they smoked every choke point in mid. Tried to make their way towards B, it looks like, but had limited success. So... Again, you want to chip away at the CT economy if you can in these lower rounds, but they're not really getting any frags. Everybody's on 1, save for Carol, who's on 3. But again, the buy rounds here once more. They'll have to make some sacrifices due to the lack of bomb plant. They won't have all the utility they might want. Scarlet has to go for the Galil, but they're mostly there. So let's see what they can do on their next attempt and how the CTs might change their plays. Have a look at Flossie. It's her turn to potentially make a flank then, making her way through Palace already. Seems in many of these rounds that we've seen thus far, there's always or often a CT behind enemy lines. That's certainly true, as this is a very early flank. And considering how early it is, the CTs can use the smokes elsewhere to allow Flossie to get into a position. In the meantime, Brave Bears have been given mid. This will be a nervous position that they will have to watch on the CT POV. No smoke just yet as Armcam has a look towards the ramp. Flossie towards top mid now as Keys has been lost. Mel will be dropped by the chair position. And again, they've got position. This is a very strong position for Brave Bears. Taking jungle for the second time. But what can they do with the rest of the team? Carol will probably be on a clock here because the CTs can come from a number of places. And indeed, she does get dropped. That'll make Ellens fall back from the A bomb site. So there's 2 creeping towards B. Can they wait for Ellens to rotate all the way over before they make a play? That will allow the CTs to reposition also. You see Valulu being as careful as she can. Look at the timing there as Flossie's making a play as well. Ellens and Scarlet now last 2 remaining. 15 seconds to get this bomb planted. Sheena's on the site also. Scarlet's trying to dance as best she can. Still that rotation's coming through for Ellens from that short position. 6 seconds, they've got to go for elimination. Armcam trying to fall back now, rounds the corner, and she will just about win the round before she's eliminated. So a 5-0 for Messitas. And again, Brave Bears getting into good positions, but leaving empty-handed afterwards.
I can't remember exactly who it was, but there was definitely an over-eagerness to fight back on that B site where, I mean, they had all of the information because of the flank that Flossie goes on. They know that mid is completely clear. That last player, very unlikely that they're going to be towards A because of just kind of how the rotations worked out for the CTs. So very likely to be headed towards B, which is, you know, after clearing out the entire map, that's got to be where it's going to happen. So they have that info, but instead of falling back and playing their numbers, you see a little bit of over-eagerness, that will to push out and to make a play and to make some magic happen. It was Valulu, in fact. And it really opens them up for this possibility of a comeback. So well done to Brave Bears for keeping their heads and maintaining their control in that one. They take full advantage of a bit of a misplay from Messitas.
Early 5v4 for the T side. That is really good for them. Now, can they get into positions to punish or limit rotation from the remainder of the CTs? I think a jump peak was spotted there. They could go for a B split here. Someone's got to go back and rotate that bomb, though. But in the meantime, they could get a second frag here. Ellens has been dropped towards a ramp. And now the urgency rises because, again, they've been flanked so many times by these CTs. He'll have 2 players sprinting over to collect that bomb as Scarlet falls back. Again, still in a very good position to go for that B split. The smokes will delay. And now you see the CTs getting a little closer to that B rotation as that smoke grenade will buy them some time. $50 seconds on the clock. And again, Messitas using their utility well. And now Tina's teammate can drop off and have support her as well. You can see Kiza by that van. Carol making way out from that short position. Then there were 2 for both squads as Carol sees one by the bench. Will get sprayed down eventually, leaving Flossie in a 1v1 now, coming in from that short position. Motley needs to reload. 30 seconds to figure this out, and there is the first round for Brave Bears. Big headshot from Motley.
Omcom is definitely having a rough day at the office. There's been a few rounds where she's missed some very crucial kills with that AWP, and it's given itself over to some snowball potential. Because obviously, once you've taken that shot, you have to fall off. It's very difficult for you to maintain that same position, especially if you're a lot more advanced, if you're like right on the site. You've got to kind of back away. You can't back up your teammates, and if your teammate isn't efficiently backing you up, then you've completely given over that control. And I think that that's a large part in why that round kind of goes askew, because Messitas had some strong control there, but a missed shot allows the Brave Bears to very quickly turn it back in their favor.
Again, Messitas going for forward plays all over the map. They've got Valulu making her way towards B, but as Armcam is dropped elsewhere, they'll have to fall back just in case. This is an important round for Brave Bears. They can break the CT side here. They can start to catch up if they can be successful. There are 3 players on the ramp. They'll get there eventually, but look at the kill feed. Down to a 2-on-2. That bomb is on the bomb site. Needs to be collected and planted. Valulu and China will be here in that CT position. Scarlet going for the flank, leaving Ellens to stay alive, and stay alive she must as the CTs come in very quickly indeed. Trunk switch to her pistol, and she's eliminated all too quickly. Scarlet now may have an angle for both of them. Sees both. They're going to line up for her as well. There's one. Can she get the second? It's so important, but she just can't finish off the job. And that will allow the CTs to survive. An important round for them to do so. Messitas moved to 6.
I was a bit worried about that one just because they didn't have a kit, and I was like, oh man, timing is going to be everything here. But Brave Bears, because of how many players they had lost, and they had lost control of the bomb in that process, it took quite a bit longer for them to actually get that plant down. And then, of course, you've got that flank coming in, and I'm like, oh man, they're just going to line up and she's going to spray down. But she has a very, very labored spray on the second player there. The shots are just not quite connecting. And Valulu, even with an MP9, she's that little bit faster to adjust, and she can clutch out that round. And it's coming down to some kind of heroic plays here. Gone are those really one-sided rounds that we saw at the beginning of the half, and now it's become a lot more scrappy.
Oh, this is a big round. 2 early frags for the T side, almost a third one, but the CTs are fighting back, a 3-on-3. And with low numbers, again, the T's are in a position where they need to go and get the bomb at some point. But with a minute 20 on the clock, they'll look to exploit their positions as they get a third frag on that B bomb site now. Surely Flossie and Kiza will have to just make a buddy system and move through together. They will find a frag in mid. Motley's got to get her skates on. She will collect the bomb. Back into apps she goes. I think the CTs will hear that rotation. If they can post up an angle, indeed they will. A double peek as well, potentially, as Kiza starts to move to her right-hand side. That's the bomb spotted. Look, that's a nasty frag from Flossie, who literally leaves Mel with a lot to do now. She gets her bell rung immediately, and then she's finished off. Very awkward indeed. A blessing and a curse for Brave Bears. They get the early frags, but they've got to go and get that bomb. And that's the information that Flossie needs to make things really nasty on that B bomb site.
I actually quite like that Flossie, because she had a couple of rounds where she was the one going on the lurk, but I think with the level of her individual firepower. I want to see her more in these closer engagements, kind of on the side, trying to not necessarily anchor, but be a bit closer to where the scraps are, because they really need her to pop off. And in those moments, she can clutch, she can come up huge, and it's been a huge boon for them.
I think the bomb being left there has led to some nervousness in some of the previous rounds, so I think they want to just keep it on someone. That's how it feels anyway, but maybe it's related to the loss of Ellens towards top mid. Utley lurking, just showing some presence in that mid position with the MAC-10. She may be focused mostly on that connector area. The 4 players, can they really pull these CTs out of position? They've used their utility so well, Messitas, be it the HEs, which have really made their jobs easier for them. Case in point. Thank you for that one, Messitas, says everyone apart from Brave Bears. Delaying as well. They're setting the pace on the CT side, as we saw from other teams yesterday. And it's Brave Bears who are having to play to the tune of their opponent. Now, seeing that jump peak, will they check for Lulu's position? Because you may think that that was the player that's there. And the two-person setup here is beautiful from Messitas. The bait setup, the bait and switch, and the punish is working wonderfully.
And Kiza's sitting there like, hang on a second, this was a setup for me. And eventually she has to kind of swing out and go, all right, well, I'm going to take those kills, because she's just not being allowed the opportunity, as you said, right? That bait setup. But the fact is, Armcam doing a lot better on the rifle than she had been a little bit earlier on that AWP. Really, really steps up in these rounds. Now she's got the AWP again, though. So now that question becomes, can she wake up? And yes, she can. Anti-eco, of course, but we take those.
Oh dear. Zip them up. Yeah, the mileage is very low in rounds such as this for Brave Bears. Had that one round with the Tech 9s where they made the play towards B. Didn't quite get there. And again, unable to keep the CTs spending when the chips are down. So many pushes from the CTs as well. We've seen CTs top mid, pushing Palace, pushing Apps. A very active gang of CT players who again will pad their wallets towards the end of this half. A full buy in the hole for Messitas, more or less, as Brave Bears try to solve this puzzle once again.
Flossie is very good. I've been quite impressed with her. But what was the other thing that's impressing me is Messitas have a really good understanding of what to do in an anti-eco. A lot of teams get ecoed because they perhaps don't expect the crazy shenanigans that are going to come through, or perhaps get a little bit overconfident. But Messitas actually use the eco against their opponents, and they leverage that in the way that you're supposed to. And that's what I'm really enjoying here. They're not allowing unnecessary space.
Awkward situation for Kiza. Unable to get revenge on that frag. So, Brave Bears have 3 CTs remaining. Moving together towards that B-bomb site. Ellen's not making her way around the corner just yet. Still in ladder room from what I can see. But they need to move in that split together. Again, as they hesitate in the apartments, the CTs will be positioned. So again, they're not, that decisiveness not quite there. They had their player in ladder. I think there was a smoke up on connector. Ellens will be lurking eventually, but there's no one there to avenge that frag. CT's repositioning also. But a point out, that's not the one who took their teammate down. And now it's Scarlet in a 1 versus 2. Never makes it out of apartments. So again, a bit of a disjointed push. You've got the 2 players. Again, they had the woman advantage. You've got the 2 players in the apartments. Your teammate kind of lurking in that short position, but you're not pinching the site together. And losing players without getting revenge frags will make life a little difficult for you.
I think we're maybe starting to see that mental get to them a little bit, yeah, because it feels like over the course of this map, it started to slide a little bit. They were looking at, obviously things looked a bit rough in the first few rounds, but then they started to coordinate. They started to look really good. They were, keeping these rounds incredibly close. They managed to pick up a round for themselves, and then Messitas really strong in the adaptations. They stopped doing the lurks because that was starting to be kind of telegraphed, and now they're playing a little bit more passive, and Brave Bears just don't know how to deal with the constant change-ups, and now we're starting to see that coordination kind of slip away.
No flash, just through the smoke and dead. Not what I would recommend. A molly towards Tetris will open opportunity for Flossie. The Muttley will get some revenge. The CTs will get their bells rung on the A-bomb site. Armcamp still standing with the AWP, however, in a 3 versus 2. Grenades coming her way, and she's down to 6. Hell creeping. May have spotted Gina by that connector position. Nothing doing just yet. And again, that jungle position leads to not much. Unfortunately for Brave Bears, leaving Scarlet to get traded immediately. 11-1. Messitas lead by a country mile at halftime.
Press play.
The Brave Bears did indeed start out bravely, but as things started to slip away from them, perhaps straining under the pressure, straining against the mental fortitude that is Messitas and not having as much for themselves, they find themselves at an 11-1 deficit.
A lot of info spotted in Palace there. Desperate rotation for all the CTs. See if they can make it there in time. Oh. I think that T Molly's gone in the wrong direction. He got supposed to bounce off the corner, but they're probably laughing about it considering the score. Brave Bears starting to move away, actually. Oh, dear. I mean, they probably were maybe a bit confused about what that Molly was. That's some nice fragging, though, from Elens, and maybe her team have got half a chance here. Carol now, 1 versus 2, makes it a 1v1. Next headshot wins if it comes down to it. He's with 39 HP. They'll all be aiming for the head, though. Smoke and a kit. Don't you dare, Carol. You got to get this frag. These are dancing around the boxes, and that's exactly what the Brave Bears needed. Let's go. Start the half the right way with the pistol. Very nice. Props to Ellen as well. That 3K was so important.
Yeah, absolutely. What makes it so much crazier is that we're seeing a disjoint here. We're seeing like 1 or 2 players decide that they're going to start moving towards B. Because I think the thought process is, okay, they know we've seen like 4 of them in Palace. There's no way they keep pushing this. They're probably going to rotate. And then you've got a couple of players that are sticking behind. And it's like you're splitting up your forces in a pistol round. It's a bit of a weird one. And Elens is like, I'm going to stand my ground. Gets the most unreasonable 3K and allows the opportunity for that clutch to come through. It's really, really well played. But again, it speaks to heroics. And that's something that has been worrying me throughout the course of this map so far.
Now, can they survive this force bite? Messitas coming through from the back. Moving Tech 9, the drive-by is very successful indeed. This is the power of these pistols in a round such as this. If you've got your plan and you execute it well, it is a problem. Oh my word. China with that Tech 9. Scarlet and Mel remain. I think I saw a knife come out there. Might have been a bad time for a mouse roll. Either way, Messitas is forced by. May puts a very prompt stop to this half. Success all too brief for Brave Bears on Mirage.
Oi, map point here. Very, very tough scenario to be in. Brave Bears' money is in such a weird spot. They've managed to pull out an AWP, which is definitely a Hail Mary. Is the Lord listening?
A good response from the CTs. Focus on a round in front of you. Lighting up Messitas in round 15. They can keep these numbers up. They might get some nice rifles for their troubles as well. Mel with no cover towards top mid. Some easy fixes that we're seeing here for Brave Bears in some of these rounds, which we'll get into later. Let's see what Armcam can do. She has over a minute. Again, even if you're not going to win a round like this, and maybe she is, the more damage you can do, the better. The more CTs arrive into the next round with empty hands. That plays into the longer game here for the T side. She's spotted there. Very unfortunate timing. She's looking for a greater play, but just as she looked down, I think that CT just saw a glimpse of her. That'll keep the numbers up for the Brave Bears then as they move to 3.
Okay. Slowly kind of keeping their heads above the waterline. Treading. Can they keep that momentum going? This is a great opportunity for them because obviously into this round, we've got those 3 Tech 9s, 2 rifles. Now, this is not a round to underestimate Messitas or to take them lightly because this is a round that they can absolutely steal away from you. So we need to see more of that clinical precision or this will be the end of the line.
Uh-oh. Problems abound on this B-bomb site. The flashbang, Carol can't see anything, and there are too many targets, too many angles, too many women on road. This could be the end of a brutal Mirage for Brave Bears. 3 on 5. Again, these pistols prevailing towards that B area. Flossie just thinning the numbers yet more, delaying Muttley, one of two players. Oh dear. Dismantled from start to finish. That is a very difficult one for Brave Bears. Messitas stamping their authority on this game of Mirage.
Yeah, it's a well-fought win from them, and I think for the Brave Bears, there were definitely some moments of brilliance. And
reposition. You're going for the split. You've got the positions. Then go for the split. You know, these are the simple tenets to build a victory that are true of any map. But Dust2 is a perfect battleground for them to try and do such a thing. So I'm hoping that they can recalibrate and offer that as we move into Dust2.
Looking forward to seeing a potential change up here as Brave Bears opting to start on the T side here. Now that is a curious choice. We'll see if it does work out for them.
Got a P250 in the hands of Ellens, who is making her way up towards short. That range will still be useful from the short position to the site itself, but the Glocks on long are not really advantage, and they might lose the bomb here as the reload comes through for Carol's at a very rough moment. The bomb with Glocks on long as they take the bomb site through short with three players. This is rough, but they can still win this one. Not going to be easy though, as Muttley finds herself in a 1 versus 3, and she will be denied. So a rough start to Dust2, and there may be more pain to come.
Yeah, I'm definitely wondering about the T-side pick. I think it might be kind of leaning into what you were talking about. Maybe they're feeling less confident in their fundamentals on a CT half, and so they're trying to kind of brute force their way in. But I think that it opens up a lot of possibility for Messitas to take advantage. Also, quick one while we are in a kind of anti-eco scenario. Furia versus the Killers. Currently 11-10 in favor of Furia. So if you guys want to go check that one out, they are being put through their paces over on one of our community streams.
Again, Messitas have very successful anti-eco rounds, anti-force by rounds within the vacuum of this series. AKs are out for Brave Bears then. Let's see what they might have to offer. They've got some very, very B spawns for Carol and Muttley. They'll make their way to the pools at the very least. Any presence towards long will be delight. Ellen's going for some pot shots through double smokes and just eating lead afterwards. You can see Brave Bears looking to reposition immediately. Good timing on the grenades, though. And that is the bomb lost for a second time in 2 rounds. It'll be a team kill. Not very important, though, in the grand scheme of things. Again, another dire situation for Brave Bears here. I think maybe reading there's a 3-person takeoff long. Perhaps we can combine and try and force our way through to B. But the timing of the utility is allowing Messitas to have a very easy run of things. Although they're coming back with these frags. Are Brave Bears. That leaves Scarlet in a 1 versus 3. A minute on the clock to do what she can, which won't be any more than those 2 frags. So again, a lot of difficulty early here for Brave Bears.
I think that round is more or less expected, I suppose. Would have been nice to get a little bit more done in that one. But again, it's that proactivity that we saw so often from Messitas. It feels like they're really enjoying doing that early on in a half, like in a CT side, to kind of get that momentum ball rolling. Because once you do that, it's very difficult for the Ts to start getting their way back into it. So if they can get that control early on and keep that rolling, then the rest should be easy as pie.
Oh, careful, China. Don't want to get too comfortable. No respect being shown, which is great. If you can play confidently, that can be very good indeed. Down to 2 players left. I don't think they're bothered. I think they can feel the strength that they have in this particular matchup, Messitas. They are looking to make things as oppressive as possible, which is good if you can do it, and they are certainly doing that for the moment.
Now Brave Bears get to buy back in. I always call round 5 the momentum shifter. see if that does come to fruition. As Scarlet's got an AWP in hand. I'm looking forward to seeing the AWP mid battle. Who does win out on that one? Have spotted each other, but oh well, the smoke will just completely ruin all of my fun. But it's not a bad call from the Brave Bears. Blocks a lot of information and gives some space to potentially rotate out.
Okay, so they've kept things honest, if you will. Oh, the timing as Yorp looks away. Not that China made it round that corner anyway. It's an important frag, though. That's a lot of damage as well. So Carol's has essentially taken the B bomb site. Now, they need to respond to this, but have a look at where the bomb is. Could it even be spotted by Kiza? I think so. Maybe, maybe not. It depends on where it is on the stairs. But either way, Kiza's made her way through the halls, which are empty. And they have retaken the B bomb site before there is a response from Brave Bears. Why so static? They had T's in B. And now Muttley finds herself alone in a 1v4 made 3. She tries to isolate some fights here. Many angles for her to go through, but she's just not going to make them. And again, we talk about the decisiveness, like when the Brave Bears were in position to split the B bomb site on Mirage, but it's not a two-pronged assault. It's either the short person alone or the people in apps not making it out of apps, not fighting together. We've got one player taking, going into business for herself, making the B bomb sites available, but the rest of the players don't get there. The CTs go through the halls and retake it. That shouldn't be happening for Brave Bears.
I think a potential factor we maybe haven't touched on is with all 5 players being relatively new, do they have a strong IGL voice? One that, understands the ebb and the flow of the game, who can make the call, all right, guys, we're going B kind of thing. Can read how, enemies are playing. That's an important factor for any team.
Yeah, I think when you're new to this stage, you're afraid of making a mistake, which introduces that hesitation. Am I sure this is the right play? Like, you've done this before, it's what you should be doing, but no. Definitely, like when it matters, when it's ESL Impact, and hesitation will lose you rounds. But these are painful lessons to learn, but it's how you grow. You make mistakes and learn from them. 3-on-2 now for Brave Bears, still looking for their first round. Zarmcam will have all the audibles as the T's make their way towards that short position. She knows there's multiple, so she picks up the AK-47. Mel will try to hold. Little jiggling as the 2 CTs will come through. Trying to track that second one, but now we're down to a 1v1. Carol's planting the bomb with Flossie chasing. That is a big headshot from Carol. A really important victory for the squad. There's plenty of money for the CT side for now, but that can quickly disappear if Brave Bears can string a second round together.
I must admit, I thought this was going to just be another round that goes Messitas' way. It starts off very scrappy. We're getting kills kind of all over the place, but Valulu tries to attempt something that, we'd seen Messitas do a few times on Mirage, where you fan out, try and take some flanking space. But unfortunately, she's only good for the 1. And that's when things start to get a little bit hairy because Messitas are so split across the map, they're unable to regroup in a meaningful way. And it comes down to another clutch scenario. This time around, Brave Bears to win it out.
China's been very busy in this short position. Very aggressive, and they haven't really had an answer to her. And she has support when she needs it as well. And again, this is the CTs taking the game away from the Ts. Brave Bears having to spend time responding to the CT aggression as opposed to taking control of the game themselves. But Carol's found another important frag, this time on long, which will pull players out of position. That will leave, well, that should leave China without her support. Muttley dropped over towards the B bomb site in the meantime. And again, even with that frag, there's we're not seeing that urgency and that regrouping from the T side. Late in the game now, as China makes her way all the way up towards top mid. She'll see the bomb at the very least. 38 seconds. No smoke for the crosshair. OnCam may have a double peek scenario. And it's a big swing from her, which leaves them with too much to do. We find ourselves at 6-1 then for Messitas.
Messitas continue to play off of each other so incredibly well. We had a couple, I think there was just that one round on Mirage when I called them out for perhaps getting a little bit over eager to take those fights. Since then, they've realized we can't keep making that mistake. They move as a unit for the most part, right? Yeah, obviously your lurk is a different story, or somebody who's holding a deep angle, it's a different story. But when they come in for their retake, when they have to kind of rotate into position, they're moving as a unit, or at the very least, they're moving in a way that they can play off of one another. So even if they're really far away, they can set up some sort of a crossfire. If they swing together, they can draw attention, they can bait one another. They're constantly making sure that communication lines are open and they know how to respond and react to whatever Brave Bears is throwing at them. And that last round is a perfect example. You have all three of those players pushing up through short at the same time. They get a line on the Brave Bears players, and once it comes down to that last player, you got three people shooting at you. You've got no chance.
Trying to absolutely drill them. TT's just charging up mid. A fast eco round is a good eco round, and that one will be very prompt indeed. On to the next one. 1-7 for Brave Bears, who look to get a little more from this half. They've got their buyout. Now, if they find an opening in this round, what we're looking for is for them to respond to that. They've made a path for themselves. We need to follow that path. Initial util comes through. Okay, Scarlett's lost her angle now. China's finally been dealt with in that short position. Such a nuisance she has been in so many of these rounds. And that's really forced Brave Bears to hesitate, because you want to start with by establishing control of long or short, but China's just been standing there round after round. So they've established their position on short rather. Now, Scarlett's still lurking outside B with the bomb. Do they want to go for a long take and split the A bomb site? That would be the straightforward approach. Not the only one, though, as they can offer a fake, as it seems they'll go for a B split, which would be very ideal, because Messitas have posted up expecting that A split with 3 players towards A. And Flossie will be alone in that B area. Ellens has dropped through the smoke, but they still need to get these numbers in. But before they can, these CTs are dealing with them. Flossie maybe expecting to be compromised from one side, makes a play through the smoke on the other. And that may be the opening that Brave Bears needed. 3-on-3 as they look to plant the bomb now. Keys are trying to charge it. Look at them forcing their way into the bomb site, trying to catch them by surprise. And that will force one player to survive at the end, as there's a bit of a barbecue on the site. But that was nice from Brave Bears. They finally took short away, which allowed them to execute a game plan afterwards. They baited the CTs over towards A, made a split towards B. Wonderful stuff.
Actually, part of me wants to say, you know, we should have had a faster response from Messitas, but how much faster could they possibly have been? The fact that those kills come through so beautifully just over top of that smoke, and unfortunately retaking B is incredibly difficult. Now you've got 2 to 3 players trying to squeeze their way through that window. It was doomed. I think Brave Bears maybe let it get a bit too close there, but ultimately they do exactly what they want to do, what they're meant to do, and they continue to follow that up here. Again, short control, team kill in the mix, but it's an even kilter numbers-wise, so they're still in with a good chance.
Oh, that's a big flash. Big flash indeed. Lurker taken down elsewhere. There is a smoke for Carol. They need to get their skates on. Oh, be really careful about holding that grenade out. Keys has got the angle. Got to get a really fast reload in now. Going for the HE as well. Behind the molly. HE's on either side, but it is Kiza who's standing at the end of it. Wonderful hold there for Messitas. Really nice
Wonderful
work by the
performance from
CTs.
Kiza. Yeah. I loved her positioning, the fact that she pushes forward instead of trying to play safe and pull back. The HE is perfectly positioned, so she can follow up with a bit of just the tiniest tickle of damage that follows it off of the HE, and then manages to get that last player as well, just as the flash pops, presumably behind her or just off to the side, whatever the case. She doesn't get full blind, and she's able to clutch out that round. I mean, it's beautiful decision-making in a very high-stakes moment.
Safety in numbers here for Brave Bears. They've got smokes to deploy. Keep the urgency up. Try to overwhelm that bomb site. Almost all the util's been used now. There'll be pop flashes for the CTs as well, but surely there's a response from the T's. Indeed, there will be. With so many numbers, they will trade these frags. They will surely take this round. Oh man, they've broken the money. Maybe too late though. 2 on 4 retake for Messitas. This is the economic situation that Brave Bears needed to find and exploit way earlier in the half. It'll be to no avail here. Messitas will have to go for this one. There's a kit on Kiza. Send the MP9 in first. Let the rifle try to clean up. Shoulder to shoulder, they start to make their way forward. Now it's Kiza with 2 to find. Not happening though, so just towards the end of the half, there will be some light at the end of the tunnel for Brave Bears. They've finally put the CTs in a dire situation as far as economy is concerned, and there's at least one more round they can get out of this one.
When you're at a fairly sizable or noticeable disadvantage in terms of your like one-to-one mechanical skill, one of the best things you can do is isolate fights, but in a way where you have like 3 people aiming at one. This time around, they just throw 5 people at the problem, and to their advantage, the problem is only like 3 people strong. So they can very easily overcome that problem. Now that problem has very little to work with, and so this next round, while perhaps a bit more expensive than they would have wanted, they'll still presumably come out with 4. So they've really done well to recover towards the end of this half.
Yeah, this has been a slog. Well, let's see if Flossie's got one more clutch in her then. There is a kit to her left, which she is running past. Go grab. She grabs. 3 more T's to find. Smoke is gone, which will leave her a bit exposed, and Scarlet will dome her immediately. That's a very important last round for Brave Bears, who reduced the deficit to 4 by half-time.
Once we start, you know we're never gonna stop. We own it. We're winning every time. We own it. Pushing every day and night. We own it. We don't do compromise. Yeah, yeah. We touch down every time. We touch down every time. This is our time. Hit it up with the reload. This is our turn to see. Gonna put your giant money in the name.
Press play. You know I feel the same way. Something crawling under the surface. Snap your fingers, we'll go there. We can find your inner furnace. Keep racing to the mantra. Don't stop, get what you're after. No rush to find an answer. Let it all out. Stay moving as the beat goes. Feel free and let the rain go. No need to know tomorrow. Run into the light. Run into the light. Run into the light. You don't have to hide no more. Melodies will guide you.
Well, it's a far closer affair than what we'd had a little bit earlier on Mirage. Brave Bears putting up much more of a fight here, but will it be enough to give them the chance to turn this back around? 4 rounds is what it will take to even out the scoreline and perhaps give themselves a fighting chance in this series.
Scarlet needs to stay alive to get these T's into the crossfire. With all the Glocks shooting, they may not hit. Oh, they go swinging straight for that car position, actually, to no avail so far. But Flossie will pick up the slack and drop Scarlet as well. She goes for the reload, trying to peek for information. Ellen's doing what she can. We've seen a multi-frag from her already in a pistol round. We'll see if she can do it again. 3-on-3 as the bomb is planted. No retake util for the remainder of these CTs. I have to wait for that smoke to go, surely. One by the car position, just showing a bit too much leg there. Can they identify the bait setup, though? Ellen's being teased. Akiza is the real threat here, and now the plan comes to fruition here for Messitas, who drop Muttley last and take the pistol on the T side.
It's a bit rough. I think that for Brave Bears, winning that pistol was a very, very important kind of goal for them, to be able to get that and potentially roll that over into some sort of snowball, right? Which is exactly what Messitas have been doing for every single half so far. I believe this is their 4th pistol. So for Brave Bears, losing out on that one is a very tough position to be in. And of course, they're not going to be able to put too much of a spend into this round. So kind of a nothing, get to the next one and hope that you can make magic happen when you have a gun. But the problem is that's going to be Messitas on double digits.
Yeah, there's a lot of work for these CTs to do when their rifles come through. We'll see how much utility they have as well. They go for the big guns, or maybe we'll see a cheeky FAMAS to get that full util. So I wonder how they will be able to control the map with about 4,400 each. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, you can see Carol immediately. No Molotov for her, no incendiary. So to get those M4s out, they are lacking a lot of util, but maybe 2 incendiaries will be enough as long as they have the smokes. Just 3 smokes on their first buy round again. Really, like, no matter how you look at it, it's a very difficult situation for them. They'll get the molly just in time into those long doors. They'll have their initial map control. We've got some shenanigans from Carol as well. I'm not sure she gave a sound cue up there, which is very much to her benefit. She'll have plenty of sound cues. Look how fast short's been taken. Just a race to the bomb site here for Messitas, but they're being dealt with by Ellens, who might just be a standout here for Brave Bears with some of the action we've seen from her already. Another 4K from her, in fact, as Flossie finds herself alone in that mid position.
Ellens has had some really solid kind of anchor moments We saw it with one of the pistol rounds in the previous map. We've seen it now. A 4K for her to shut down any attempt of moving into her sight. Beautifully played. And to be fair, she's got a teammate there kind of backing her up, playing a little bit of distraction, and she's playing off of that.
Nice.
We're seeing a bit more cohesion and coordination than we'd seen previously. But still a ways to go. I'm hoping they can keep that momentum going, as now Messitas kind of on the knife's edge economically. You got the 2 Tech 9s with 3 rifles, so it's not ideal, but this is a very similar buy to what they had when they won the last map. So never count them out.
Lovely angle from Carol. Kind of luck they need. She put herself in the position to win. There is this lurk smoke over towards that B-bomb site. Let's see if that's going to immediately actually pull Carol over. Give a support grenade for her teammate on B. Now, do Messitas try to seize this mid position? No presence on short from the CT squad. He will poke through that mid area. Not too much response, though, from these CTs. Carol will be playing outside the bomb site. They're lining up for Ellens, who only catches one on this occasion. That forces an awkward duel here for Carol, who delivers great stuff. She moves into the deepest angle she can find, and that will buy time for her teammates to rotate and trade that frag. Wonderful stuff. That was really important movement after that last frag that she got there. Really important. Great detail there from Brave Bears.
Carol has actually been relatively clutch, and a lot of it does come down to that kind of split-second decision-making. But we're also seeing them be a lot more reactive off of what's going on the rest of the map, and it really does make a good change from what we saw on their T side, where they seem to kind of hesitate, to not want to commit to anything, to kind of second-guess their decisions. Should we commit to this? Should we do something else? You know, are we kind of over-committing? This time around, we're actually seeing them make those calls very early on, like, we need to move, and the whole team does it. It's not disjointed like we've seen previously.
Swing and a miss from Scarlet. Want to keep these rifles away from these pistoleros. As Mel gets her bell rung, but Ellens again with that multi-frag, saving the day there. Keep these numbers up, and that's exactly what they will do. 3 is enough. They're closing the gap, Brave Bears. They're closing it promptly, but I think their problems will become more problematic as Messitas are on the AK-47s with plenty of grenades.
This is the big potential difference maker. This is where everything could get turned on its head. Now, Scarlet's got an open hand. We'll see what she can kind of make happen with that. That's such an important proponent on a map like Dust2. You really want to be getting the full value out of that AWP. You don't want to kind of let that go to waste, which is true on every map, but this one, it kind of is exacerbated somewhat.
Oh, awkward. Going for a second one as well, Carol. No respect being shown there. That's wonderful. Brave Bears having success on this CT side. Urgency suddenly rising for Messitas, who find themselves with 2 players left. There is life in the old dog yet. In the Brave Bear yet. 4 on 2. Carol repositioning to stop a flank. I might have been able to hear that sprint up mid. Either way, there's not much here to be done in most cases for Messitas. You never know, though. Mistakes can be made. But there isn't really much reason for Brave Bears to move more than the positions they're in at the moment. Comeback early in this second half, then. Perhaps not what you were expecting after the action in the first, but Brave Bears came to fight. Decided to barbecue her teammate with that incendiary.
So it's banter. It's banter. Looks like Messitas are just going to try to keep these weapons, which is definitely the right call to make, I think. We did kind of mention how their money was starting to look like a bit of a problem area for them. And now, unfortunately, they've reached that breaking point. The ice is cracked, and they're not going to be able to get a full buy into this next round. They'll perhaps string something along, and they will have hopefully the 2 AKs, depending on how aggressive the Brave Bears want to get with this.
Oh, it would make no sense for them to try and chase these weapons. They've got to build their own economy. Still brittle for the moment. These rifles
I've seen stranger things.
These rifles could be joined by some Tech 9s. I mean, the layout of Dust 2 isn't as favorable as something like Anubis for a Tech 9 play. But they may still have a plan for this one as well, and perhaps they'll have some confidence. I mean, they took short really easily in one of these earlier rounds. So if they can do something like that again, there could be some issues here. If they are able to get... Oh, this is actually a really good boost here from Carols, which takes one of the rifles away immediately. It will be collected, though, and that flash could cause problems. Now, they've still got enough numbers to come out here and try and go after Ellens, who has no one to throw flashes in her direction. Scarlet doesn't have the right angle, which is going to make things so awkward indeed, and Ellens will be lost because of that. 2 players remain now. Keys are very low. Can they take Scarlet off this angle? They can do more than that. She stays there completely blind and goes down for free. This could be the House of Cards collapsing for Brave Bears, as Mel's got to pick the right time to make a play through this smoke. She hears the footsteps. There are only 2, but she does not deliver the frag. Once again, Muttley is the last woman standing. They're both low for both squads. Does she understand the position of Keezer? She's got a lot of utility, but does she have the angle to throw it? I mean, she needs to know where Keezer is first and foremost. Moline behind the boxes, having a look now as Keezer goes through the smoke rather than around and gives it up for free. That is a nervous round for Brave Bears, but they are still standing for now.
That's fantastic patience from Muttley as well, to not kind of overplay her hand, but rather to wait it out a little bit, to feel out the space a bit, throw out a bit of utility, maybe draw that player out into the open. And it works out perfectly for her, you know. She's just not being checked for. And I think, again, you know, she's got a much wider angle as well. So as you're coming through the smoke, you're not expecting someone to be on such a wide angle. You're expecting them to be holding a little bit closer. Instantly wins that out. We are 1 round away from a tied up map. Bearing in mind, we had a 13-3 on our previous map for anyone who is just joining us or only joined us for this map. So for the Brave Bears to have battled back into this in such a profound way, very impressive. And it's that mental fortitude that I spoke a little bit about before our first map. It's good to see that they do have that.
This is an interesting scenario here, because Scarlet is by that car position. And with that smoke up, the T's could be in the pit, although maybe they'd expect a bit more utility. Now, if another Molly comes in, she may not escape this position whatsoever. She'll find 3 targets and hit none of them straight through the windows, and down she goes. This is a big problem. Now they can collapse on the site in heavy numbers. There are 4 players on long. They are going to take this bomb site. And now Brave Bears have decisions to make. Their money is low. They're going to have some problems here. They will no doubt lose Mel. They've got to save the rest of this. They can't look at this more or further. They've lost 1 too many rifles there. Dire situation. That's really rough for them. They had to land something. Muttley still having a look. It's 1 versus 4. Going for the hero play. Maybe encouraged by that grenade. No smoke for the bomb. There is a flash, though. But ultimately, it's about the rifle. Going for the trade frag immediately. Oh, she rings the bell, but doesn't quite get the frag. I think she thought she'd done the job there, but not quite. A noble effort from Muttley, but unable to get the job done there. Muttley's got 9k, though, so she can spread the wealth a little, but we'll see if there'll be any shortcomings in that buy.
I like that Messitas kind of contact up to a certain extent as they make their way up towards car, so that when Scarlet does rear her head, as you said, right, you spot 3 players, you kind of split the difference, don't really manage to hit into anything, and at that point she just gets overrun. Like, what are you meant to do against 3 players that are just running at you and all you have is an AWP? Stranger things have happened. We've seen some crazy heroics, but those are certainly the outliers. And that, as we saw, completely opens up that site and makes it very difficult, nigh impossible for the Brave Bears to mount a retake. Now this is where we come back into very, very dangerous territory, because as much as they've had a bit of a streak going, they have lost a few players in quite a few of these rounds. So they have to reinvest into this. We'll run one round away from map and series point. Losing this round puts them back down onto a very, very broken force.
If they save 2 rifles at the end of that round, they might have an AWP in this one. We'll see if they can hold on to this round anyway. Oh, this is looking rough. They just have too many people out here. Yeah, there were multiple decisions well, multiple options that could have been made there. They chose the one they chose. Maybe an AWP would have helped them in this one, but we'll see what Carol can do. An MP9, and that flank is eliminated by Flossie. Good spatial awareness. Noble comeback from Brave Bears, but how much is left in the tank for this squad? Long starting to be exploitable. Waiting to die, I think these two are. It's going to be very hard for him to deal with this. Motley looking in the right place, but again, ringing the bell, but nothing more than that. Mel needs a miracle, which she will not receive, and we find ourselves at match point for Messitas.
You know, this is something that we've kind of spoken about, just kind of getting back to your point about if they'd managed to save some weapons. In the ESL Impact scene, that does appear to be something that does lack for quite a few of our teams, where they don't opt to go for the save. They rather, you know, try to fight for it. And unfortunately, the repercussions of that clear as day. Now, as mentioned, very broken force into this, 4 MP9s and a Deagle, and that's all they have to somehow make a miracle happen here.
I mean, from the short position, they can hear all these footsteps on long. They've got to get these B players rotating over to the bomb site. They've got short-range weapons, and Mel's got a Molotov that, you know, can maybe delay, but we've got Hail Marys on this bomb site, and I think that was their best opportunity, which has now disappeared. Solo plays in the last round here for Brave Bears. Scarlet finds herself the last one standing, last one to fall. Messitas pull away towards the end. They found weakness towards long, exploited it, and come away with the victory.
And it's a tough one, I think, in that round with that buy. You know, it's a bit of a Hail Mary because you know that you're kind of last chance saloon. So I think that it would have been really